When I actually think about it now, I'm like, the fact that we recovered from that and did what we did and are still doing what we're doing, and we're still going with the brand. We're launching literally 2 new products right now in 2 different marketplaces. It's a testament to, like,
100%.
that would have crushed most people, because that was actually, maybe when I think about it now, the most difficult time I've ever had in business.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Conquer podcast episode.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome. We've got a that was the third take of the intro.
Not
we
sure
got
why
there.
that took so long this time
Alrighty,
around.
so Bronze, let us know, what are we talking about today? So it's raining as fuck outside right here in Bali, and we were riding here in a car. We'd usually be on a scooter, we're in a car because it's literally torrential downpour, and we were wondering, all right, what's a good topic to talk about in today's podcast, and what did we come to?
Well, we want to give you guys more value when it comes to just Amazon and Amazon FBA business, generally speaking. So what we're actually going to talk about today is we're going to list our top mistakes that we have made over our Amazon FBA careers. So that's over the last 5 years.
And we've made a few, because we've been doing this for a while, since
That's
2018.
Right. Yeah. And I thought this was really interesting to share for two reasons. And actually one of those reasons is I think that, you know, when we share results online, and then when you're always looking at someone who's maybe achieving something that you want to achieve, you think that they just got there, like, oh, they just woke up and they achieved these great things. And I guess I want everyone to know is, like, when you're learning something new and something different, and the people listening to this podcast, we know that you guys are either wanting to get into Amazon FBA or more so at the beginning of your business journey. Like, it's okay. Like, there's always going to be challenges, hiccups, things go wrong. But instead of looking at it as a negative, it's just something that you learn and grow, and you implement it into the next business. And you know that these mistakes that we're going to go through right now, we will never make them again. And we're going to share them with you, and more importantly, is so you don't make these mistakes as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
All right, so I've got
Mistake number 1.
I've got a list of them.
So like I've said though, like, just for context, we've been selling on Amazon since 2018. In that time, I think we've sold, you know, our current brand Prodigy X has had 7 products. But outside of that, like, we've sold probably another, you know, my first brand Golden H had 3 products. Then we did the Jaw Define together that had 1 product, and then there was some golf putting mat, and, like, we've probably collectively sold maybe 15 different products.
Yeah, I think it's like 14, 15. Yeah,
We're actually about to crack 9 with Prodigy X.
Yeah, and Prodigy X is expanding.
So 2
obviously,
more coming this month. So yeah.
So yeah, we've made mistakes, and we've got a lot of lessons and knowledge and experience that we want to pass on. So anyone watching this can not make the same mistakes we did.
I think one big learning as well, that, like, as we've grown as Amazon sellers, we've made mistakes but then recovered much faster from mistakes and learned from them much quicker than we first did. So 100%. It's like we're falling fast every time we make a mistake or anything. We fall fast, fix it, and we move on.
Exactly right. What do they say? They say fail fast and fail forward.
Yeah,
that's what we do every single time. It's like, oh, cool, all right, made a mistake. All right, next. It is what it is.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, let's get into it.
All right, mistake. Actually, I'm going to stop saying that. Lesson number 1.
Yeah, nice.
Okay?
I like that.
Lesson number 1 is not being ready for launch.
Yeah, that's crucial.
What does that mean? Actually, let's explain what that means before telling the story of what happened.
Go for it.
I'll do that. Okay. So when I'm saying not ready for launch, is that when we say launch, it means that your product has finally arrived into Amazon's warehouse, and your listing, which is where your product is on amazon.com.au, or your images and how customers that can actually purchase your product, it's live. So this is your opportunity to
So it's available for, like, people, like shoppers can go in and actually see that product and purchase it.
That's right. It's available. Your product is available on Amazon. And what Amazon actually has created, or from our experience, we call it the honeymoon period. This means that when a new product is launched on Amazon, Amazon actually favors you. They're like, okay, let's see what this can do for us. Because at the end of the day, Amazon wants to make money. So they're like, okay, someone's made the effort. They're here on our platform. Let's see if our customers actually want them. So we roughly say that the honeymoon phase can last between 2 to 4 weeks, somewhere like that. And that's when Amazon actually pushes your product. So they're doing something nice for you to, you know, page 1 at the top.
It's actually a massive positive for new sellers.
It's a huge positive. Yeah. So it gives you an opportunity. Amazon is giving you that visibility to customers and saying, okay, our customer's going to buy this product.
And the thing is with Amazon, they're pretty cutthroat with it because they only give you that time frame, and they're going to collect data in those 2 weeks based on conversion rate. So how many people see it versus how many people actually buy it, that's a conversion rate. And Amazon's an algorithm, so it only dictates basically how high up your product is on the page based on the conversion rate. So they're going to see in the first 2 weeks, how many people see it, how many people buy it. And if a lot of people see it and not many people buy it, well, they're going to be like, well, this is a page 2 product or a page 3 product. Whereas like if a lot of people see it and a lot of people buy it, they're going to be like, well, this is actually a page 1 product. And the mistake that turned into a lesson that I made was when I was running Golden Nature, my first ever Amazon brand back in USA back in 2018, where I was selling bamboo fruit baskets, and then I launched bamboo spoons, and then the third product of that beautiful collection was a bamboo bread box. And I spent so much time like orchestrating this design. Like back then I would do custom products, so this didn't exist. I joined it was like a box for bread, and I joined the edges together in a way that no other product was joined together, because other ones would warp and fall apart, but I didn't want mine to be like that. And I put so much effort into it. The way that I wrote bread was different to everyone else's. The lid I put so much effort into this. The lid, I got it custom made, that it was actually, you'd take it off the bread box and you'd flip it over, and then it turned into a cutting board that had these slits in it. So when you cut bread in it, all the crumbs actually fall into the slits, and you could easily just put that in the bin. This never existed on the market before. It's a completely custom, brand new product. Put effort and money into creating it, right? And like Veronica was saying before, this product became live on Amazon USA. And USA is a different beast to Australia, especially back then. We were only selling on USA back then because Australia didn't even exist yet, I don't think. Or it was like in its infancy stages. And the product became live after all of this effort. And for whatever reason, I wasn't happy with how the listing looked. I thought that the hero shot wasn't good enough. And so what I did was delay the launch, in that I didn't apply any Amazon PPC advertising, and I didn't push to get reviews early. And I didn't really try to sell the product because I was actually talking with my photographer saying, hey, I want this change, this change, this change. And
you left your listing up, just to clarify.
It was
still live.
active. It was available for customers, and I didn't push it as hard as I could. Customers really don't buy products that have no reviews. So when you do, your launch strategy, a big part of it is getting reviews quickly. So you have social proof, other people saying, wow, this is an amazing bread box. And then customers are more likely to buy it. Yeah. I didn't have any of that stuff. So what happened was that my conversion rate was low, right? Because it was an under-optimized listing. I don't think the A+ content was there yet, because I didn't know about this whole honeymoon period thing. So I was just chilling with it. I was I'll just relax, I'll get it proper. And then once it's proper, then I'll launch the PPC. And I remember 3 weeks in, before I had managed to actually do the proper launch, I just got an email one day, and I remember reading the email, and it just said, your long-term storage fees for this month are 10,000 USD. And I was like, what the fuck? And it turns out that Amazon gauges pretty quickly how much stock you have in their warehouse, what your sell-through rate is, how quickly you're going to sell it. And if it's not fast, they're going to say, all right, this is taking up storage in our warehouse. That could be a product that's selling really well. We need your stuff out, so we're going to give you these fees. Now that changes, that's just the initial email I got. As I sold more units, that changed, but it's a shame because that product actually ended up getting to almost 10,000 USD in sales a month. However, it was still, Amazon still, just because in those early stages, still rated it as a product that was taking up space that other products could take up. And they were basically sending me these emails saying that you need to get rid of this product. And in the end, once I did do the proper PPC and everything, it was a good product. Like I said, it almost got to 10,000 a month, but Amazon, it was too late. It was gone in Amazon's algorithm.
And also the work you have to put in to bring a product back up to the top is costs so much more money on advertising and energy than what it does if you just launch it with everything firing from the get-go.
100%. Because it's like Amazon is already now punishing you down. So now you're going against it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you launch it with the honeymoon period from the get-go, doing the full strategy, you're going with the tide down the river, not against the tide, swimming against the tide. So that was lesson number one. The recap is the moment your product is live on Amazon, you have to your listing has to firstly be completely optimized. So that means your hero shot, your images, your video, your A+ content, your bullet points, your title. It has to be completely all done. And then the day it's on, you need reviews.
Yeah.
You need reviews, don't you? And then you need to also get the Amazon PPC firing to get it in front of more people. Shows up twice on the page, and that's how you really have a solid launch and avoid the mistake of Amazon thinking that you have a dud product.
Yeah, so it's the importance of first impressions. That's literally what it is. And Amazon gave you that opportunity, and unfortunately, you are unaware and be like, no, we don't like you. I'm sorry, and then you were battling the whole time. Something that I do want to say, when you are preparing for your launch phase, it isn't that Amazon, you wake up one day and you're like, my product's live, like what do I do now? Like your products are on their way, they're probably like on a ship from China, on an airplane, like you've got time, you know that like in 30 days time, my product should be in Amazon. So you've got that time to get yourself organized. So as you said, for whatever reason, you were unhappy with the listing. So you're like, I'm not going to do anything until I'm happy. And that was
just a little tip here as well, that anyone who launches, sometimes Amazon actually like makes your product live before you have products in stock and ready to sell. So there's an easy like tick box. You just say close listing. It doesn't delete listing. It just closes it down until you're actually ready to launch. That's something I've been doing a lot recently.
In hindsight, that's exactly what I should have done. Exactly. Right? I should have clicked the close listing button and only turned it on. The units are in the warehouse and only turn it on once the listing's done and ready to go with PPC and reviews.
And from my understanding, that doesn't affect it at all because you're not being seen by customers, so you're not getting that bad conversion.
Yeah, so Amazon, the honeymoon period will start once it's active, right? So yeah, that's lesson number one, an important one.
Lesson number one.
Launch aggressively.
There you go. All right, lesson number 2 is seasonal products. Do you sell a seasonal product or do you not sell a seasonal product? I will do the same. I will explain to you all what a seasonal product is, and then Chris, you can dive in of our story with a seasonal product. So a seasonal product is a product that is only sold during a specific season. So it doesn't have to, so a season, for example, a summer product or a winter product, but it also can be like a Christmas product. So a Christmas tree, Christmas decoration, Halloween product, Mother's Day product. So anything that is only sold at a specific time of the year where you can make a lot of money during that time. However, all other times of the year is kind of a dead product, right? So I do want to clarify, these products can be extremely successful. However, your time management, for inventory management, when your stock is available, all of these things, and then also getting your stock out so you don't get those, what are they called? Long-term
storage fees.
Yeah. That all has to be organized. But ideally in your business, you want to be making sales every day, not just when it's Christmas time, right? So that's...
And in Amazon Australia, long storage fees start hitting you after 6 months. It's slightly different to us, but in Australia, you get after, if you've got inventory that's been in there long 6 months, that's when your storage fees goes up. So Australia's a little bit more lenient.
US is a different beast like that.
It still
that's why we choose Australia.
Yeah. So it still gets you. So
actually, just before we get into it, because you guys have obviously a good story, I know a couple that only would sell Christmas decorations on Amazon USA, and they would just like the whole year they're not selling. And then in Christmas they'd do like 400-500K, and then again whole year not selling.
Yeah.
So it is like a strategy that some people do. However, we never do that. We don't teach it to anyone because it's just, you want a business that's making you money all year round, right? Not waiting around and then turning it on and whatever. We want predictable money coming in every single month.
And during, just on that point, like it can be quite risky as well. So for example, if you are selling just Christmas products, Q4 is the most hectic time of year for online businesses. That's when the most money is spent. Everyone's online getting Christmas presents and whatnot. However, that's when every business, so every seller is sending all their products into Amazon. There is traffic, there are blockages, your inventory is stuck in a line somewhere. So and also depending on if you're a new brand or an old brand, you can only send in products before a certain date. And if they don't get there, then see you later. So imagine if you miss that window.
Yeah.
Then it's gone.
And even as a new seller, like launching on Amazon Australia, they only give you a number of units to begin with. So you might think, I'm going to order like 5,000 units and cash in on a Christmas idea, but you can only send in 100 or 200 units. Yeah. So you have to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
Do you want to get back into the...
Share us the story of our...
Seasonal product, what happened? What was the product?
So basically me and Veronica had a brand. It was a summer beach brand. Now, in hindsight, we thought, okay, different parts of Australia, there's like in northern Australia, it's a bit hotter up there during winter. South Australia, it's cold. So maybe it will still sell kind of all year round. Maybe not as well during the peak winter, but parts of Australia, different temperatures. So we thought, this will still do okay. And that was probably the downfall. We thought that
What was the product?
The products were beach chairs and beach cooler bags. Now, that was the main issue, is we thought we could probably sell them during periods when it wasn't the season, it wasn't the summer season. That was the one mistake, or the one lesson. The other lesson was, because it was seasonal, we had some issues with getting these units delivered on time.
Exactly
They
what I
got
said
lost. They
before.
got lost. We sent them in December, which we're already a little bit late, but we thought even if we catch it at
So
January...
you thought for like Aussie summer, you were just going to nail these, sell heaps
Yeah,
of these, and then there was a delay.
And
Yeah,
it was quite
so
like
the-
a bougie brand, so it could be like maybe a Christmas present,
Yeah.
like that kind
Yeah.
of stuff as
So
well.
due to our order and we're trying to get them in, we knew we couldn't get them in till after Christmas in the end. But early January, we're like, still that's sweet. It's still peak summer, January to
Australia.
March. Perfect time to launch. We only had a small amount, like 100 units of each product. 200 units of each product. Should be easy. It was two different colors, for each SKU or each ASIN. Anyway, so the products are there, and then they got lost in delivery for 2 months. So they didn't actually arrive into
You said
Amazon
lost in
Australia.
delivery. What does that mean? Who
They-
was that? At?
It was the paper. There was one bit of paper missing, and they were stuck in customs, and no one notified us about this.
So it was a freight forwarding issue.
It was a freight forwarding issue. We've never had this issue ever
Yeah,
again.
because
it was
that, like-
once off,
yeah.
and it was on our launch. So this actually pushed our launch back from being early January till end of March. That's basically end of summer, or like coming to the end of summer.
Yeah, and
Right.
what actually happened, another thing is like when we found our product, they found it, they moved it to another holding area. I got a phone call and they're like, your products have, excuse me, your products have been left in the rain. I was like,
So they,
I was on a meeting and I was like, I need to leave.
yeah. So
and
they,
I was like, excuse
moved.
me?
They moved them into getting ready to send them into Amazon, and then they left. It was a long weekend, and they left them outside on the Friday, and it rained on the Monday. And they like the boxes, all the external boxes got wrecked. So
We had beautiful packaging.
So,
our
yeah, so it
so
was
much effort
it was
into
a
the
whole
brand.
debacle. But like the lesson from that was like, is with the seasonal product, because this was a seasonal product, we missed the biggest part of the season, which is probably November through to end of March, and we came in end of March. So although the brand
just
got in
in
there,
time for winter.
yeah, although the brand got in there, and this comes back to what Eric was saying at the start, although the brand got in there, people weren't looking for these products. It was the end of summer, so our conversion rate also went down, which means we had to drop our prices. So then we're trying to sell these through winter because we still want to get our conversion rate up, so we're dropping prices, we're doing all sorts trying to get these products going. It goes into winter, everything slows down. We sold more than 50% of them, and then we start getting long storage fees going into the next summer because of all that. So our launch amount number was perfect. We would have sold through them in summer, and we would have got really good ideas of numbers of what the brand could do. But because of them being delayed and we missed that season, that's why seasonal products are so hard to hit. If you miss that season, there goes the whole thing. So you really have to plan months in advance and get that in there. And because we missed that season, we're in there for too long storage fees. And then the brand, to a degree, we could have relaunched, and we actually, if we didn't move on to Prodigy, but it went bust for that year because we're like, okay, well, we've got all these units, we pulled some out, and still love the brand, still reckon we could make that brand work today, but it's a very hard one to get because of the seasonal aspect.
Yeah, so we missed that window, and and we learned.
Put us on the back foot.
From that experience, we've decided that we want to wake up and make sales every single day, not just if the sun is shining.
Yep.
So that's our lesson learned for that one, is like don't launch a seasonal product, launch a product that people want all year round.
You guys had some unfortunate events alongside
and
of being
obviously
seasonal.
so much in that one.
Like I've never heard of that before ever.
Yeah.
That like there was
It's
such a
got-
delay, then they live it out in the rain. Like that's one of those like crazy horror
Yeah.
stories.
And the only reason we knew they were delayed is because they called us and they were like, oh, we're going to have to start charging you storage fees because your goods are still sitting here
The
in customs.
customs officer said that. We're like,
And we're like, what do you
excuse me,
mean?"
sir, give our products to us. We don't want you to have them.
yeah, right.
So yeah, that's obviously like another massive learning and a lesson that we've had. And
It's a good lesson. Then,
I guess seasonal products, for being experienced, there's still opportunities there, but it's so risky, especially as a new
There's
seller
more
as well.
risk, yeah.
So much risk as a
Yeah.
new seller.
Yeah, and this talking about this brand and maybe why we made that decision rolls into our third mistake, is that being too emotionally attached to a brand and to our product.
yeah.
And I'm going to talk about this one because even how Chris is talking about like, oh, we could still relaunch it like right now, even though we're talking about it as a mistake, we're like, it's still there because it's like this beautiful brand. It was called
Branding
Nika
is
and
cool.
Steph.
It's
so
like
it was
your-
like
your
our
names,
name.
like,
And
it-
we're like, bringing a slice of Europe to Australian shores, and it was all like very bougie kind of thing. And when I say emotionally attached, it's like obviously I'm still excited about it, it represents us. And we kind of forced a product that truly, if we like recap or reflect now, the data wasn't there to show us, yes, this is something that would be successful on Amazon.
We based it on opportunity rather than on like actual clear numbers at the time.
Yeah, that's right. And like things that now in hindsight that I look at it is like when I talk about a beach chair, it was one of those really low beach chairs. The designs were those like beautiful. We had blue ones and yellow ones with the stripes, like you see like in Greece and things
everything.
like that. And what we found that like Maya David Jones, they were selling these chairs and they were selling it for like up towards $200, right? And when we were selling them on Amazon, we were selling them for about 120 at one point. So they were a high ticket item. However, what we now know is like at that point for this particular product, Australians, so this was at Amazon Australia, Australians weren't willing to pay that amount on Amazon for that kind of product.
Just to clarify, that was like 3.5 years ago. So the marketplace in Amazon has definitely changed in Australia. People are more, I think 3.5, 4 years ago, people were still looking for like eBay cheap discounted products more over the premium, and now people are looking for more premium products. I think it's changed a lot. Not saying that the brand was still out.
I was about to say.
General,
so what you're telling me is that you want to still go with the brand.
In general, I think Amazon had less.
Trust me, guys, it'll work.
I think in general, like 3.5, 4 years ago, Amazon had less of a
there's less search volume
of buying
generally.
like high quality products. It was more like cheap discounted products.
But what we didn't do is make data driven decisions. And if we had the process that we know now and what we teach now in our launchpad and things like that, we would have seen, okay, what's the competition doing? Oh, interesting. All the competition is actually selling under $50. What makes us think that someone's going to come and buy ours and that's almost 3 times the price?
Yeah.
And
like
you would have never even sold the product because we instantly teach like, all right, we're not doing seasonal.
Yeah,
that's like in our product research, we literally say, all right, we're not looking for, there's a section, if you say yes to a seasonal, then it goes red and it's eliminated.
Yeah. I remember the top selling product was Tommy Bahama, which was like a well-known brand, a real bougie brand. And they were just crushing it because they had the brand name.
And they had a horrible listing too. I remember they had like 3 images, no video, but because of the brand.
The brand and because
they're so trusted.
Yeah. So that was...
It's a great lesson. It's such a good lesson.
It's actually another lesson to think about, like sometimes those well-known brands, if it's proper well-known established brand outside, it is hard to compete with that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It seems like almost like deceivingly easy because they're like, oh, they've only got 3 images and the first image is a lifestyle image. So they might get, against Amazon Terms and Services, they might get taken there. They don't have a video.
But they've got storefronts all around the country and people go in there, oh, I saw that. And they look it up online.
But a customer's scrolling and they see Tommy Bahama and they're like, I've heard of that before. I've seen these. Then they see your unknown brand.
And they have a fan base, don't they?
Even just searching for it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So to recap, you cannot get emotionally invested into a brand and a product. Like obviously you want to love what you're doing. Like we love Prodigy X. However, your decisions for that brand and that product have to be data based. So it's either a clear yes or a clear no. If you're saying maybe, it means it's a no and you're trying to like shove it into like a criteria that it does not belong. So at the end of the day, the lesson learned there is make data driven decisions.
I'd say we're even a little bit emotionally invested in Jordafine as well. Like, and with that, we'll
get. That's one of the lessons we've got coming up.
Yeah. Well, I was definitely money invested. That made me emotionally.
Well, let's go into that one. That one wasn't going to be the next one, but that can be that one now.
That talks about data, doesn't it?
That was the back end system.
Let's explain the product because it's a hilarious product. This was back in the 2021. This was the first time. So up to this point, for some reason, we were all doing our own separate, whether it was drop shipping or Amazon businesses, like literally competing against each other. And then we're like, hey, maybe we should do it together. Yeah. Look at that. So you guys talk through what that is.
A brand, the first brand that the 3 of us created together was called Jordafine. And at that time, there was this very popular trend of men wanting to really chisel their jawlines.
This is Amazon USA.
This was, because again, we didn't even back then, Australia didn't even exist. Australia's that new. Like we would never even consider.
4 years ago now.
Back then, like Zonguru, the software we used, they didn't even have the plugin for Australia. So you don't even know search volume because there was none.
I don't think I even used it for shopping back then.
Yeah, no, I never did.
No, it didn't exist. Yeah, so 2021 this one was.
Yeah, so we came together and we decided to create a brand. We saw a trend. I remember I was working with Zonguru at that time and I was doing product research for them because they would do like hot product sheets and stuff they'd do for marketing. And I came across a product that slid across my desk that I was like, shit, this has heaps of demand. And I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands of search volume, low competition, very unique product. And that was a jaw chewing
It looked like
the
a
mechanism.
dog toy that you put in your mouth and you chew it.
I
So it's
remember, I remember
literally
being
a
like,
bowl.
I've got this hot idea. Like you guys should do this idea. And I was like, that's pretty wild. And then you're like, if you guys do it, I'm gonna do it. So we might as well do it together. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So that was it.
So the top selling product was doing like I think like $1 million USD.
Yeah, it
like it was
was.
like insane
insane.
numbers.
It
And it
was
was the
more
bowl,
than that,
right?
1.5.
And you put it in the mouth,
were they
yeah,
called? I
and you
forget
chew
their
it.
brand.
They were called Jaws size.
Jaws size.
And they're still they're like
Jaws
Joe
size.
Rogan has promoted
They've
them
been
publicly.
pumping again
Yeah.
recently.
They still like to this day make
Yeah.
a shit ton of money
Yeah.
because like it is actually a great product for fucking
Yeah.
getting your mandible nice and chiseled. So we go into the market and we say, all right, so everyone's selling the bowl design and the top sellers the bowl design. We're going to come in with a different design. And our idea was these 2 tablets, like these 2 chewers. You put into
Complete
each
choke
molar
hazard.
like a gum, and you basically chew it. Rather than in the middle chewing it, you'd chew it like 2 pieces of gum in your back teeth. So these 2 little rubber cubes, basically rubber rectangles. And to make it visual and to make it pop, we were thinking, well, who's the avatar? It's men, obviously. So, all right, let's give it a unique design. And we gave it like an army camo,
Yeah.
Like black, grey,
like
white.
a black, like a
Yeah.
snow black, like army camo
Yeah.
design, so it would pop. And then we put effort into this.
Oh, it
we
was
got it. We got
amazing, actually.
embroidered into it, like into the actual silicone because it's rubber. Jaw Define, which was our
paid
brand.
for the mold. We actually paid
We
like
created
$1,000
a
USD
new-
for a mold.
Yeah.
Actually, so
Even the
we've got
mod-
so
even-
many lessons from this brand.
Even
actually.
the even the actual tablet itself was custom. Like it was different. We got so
No
many
one had this
samples,
one.
and we made ours the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
Compared it all.
Yeah, we bought every single competitor's sample.
Yeah.
We had the bowl. We had like 4 different types of chewing ones, and we were like scientists, like testing each one. I just had the funniest. Do you guys remember when
know exactly.
you know exactly what I was like? The quality control inspection. When we got the photos back and the.
Wow.
And I'm like, I hope they didn't put all
I'll
of
just
them in
quickly,
their mouth.
I'll just really quickly explain this. So we get quality. That's actually one of the lessons we'll talk
That was
about.
the
Now I'm
difference.
jumping around, and I just want to.
Yeah.
No, don't talk about the lesson. Just talk about the funny.
It was just
thing.
funny that in the quality control inspection that we get, we get photos of the products in use and they get tested, so we make sure that they're ready to be sold. And basically, they said they
testing
gave in the report there was a photo of the Chinese quality control guy having the products in his mouth, chewing them, and he had like really mangled yellow teeth, and we were just like, I hope that he didn't repackage that. Like we were just like, please don't actually physically test these products. Like that is put those in the bin now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just hilarious. That was just a side note.
But what was what was the lesson from that? The main
Yeah,
lesson?
so we put so much effort into these and we launched them onto the Amazon USA marketplace, and they actually, they got sales straight
Yeah,
away. Like
yeah.
there's actually 2 lessons here. Firstly, we were too slow to bring it
Yeah,
to market
100%.
because we were customizing it so
too
much.
much customization, too much changing. Oh, maybe this, like scientists, like with these opportunities. And then we learned this lesson because we did this for Prodigy X. The complete opposite. We were like, opportunity, product, done.
Yeah.
It was ruthless because timing into the market is more important than coming up with this whole incredible, amazing design that doesn't exist, blah, 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 and then you get it out too slowly.
Especially on a cheaper product that can be easily replicated.
Yeah, for that one there, we could have literally just been like, fuck it, let's go. Let's just get the best that we can just get from off of the shelf, make it as good as we can with a little customization, but quickly get it out. That's what we should have done. We would have made more money from the get-go like that and entered the trend really early. But that's actually not the main lesson. The main lesson is that at that point, we didn't have any back-end spreadsheets. We had no data collection.
We weren't tracking anything.
So now, with our business, we track how many people go on our page every single day, how many people purchase every single day, and like I said earlier, to work out your conversion rate and all of these important numbers to know how a product is actually
click through for hero shots.
Yeah,
all different
through
numbers
all
that
of this.
you need.
And we literally back then would just launch these products and just put them on Amazon and be like, cool, let's just
Have we made revenue?
Yeah,
Have we
we're
made
just
revenue?
like, let's
Great.
exactly. We didn't even know how much profit we were making.
Yeah.
Maybe we made a preliminary spreadsheet with some estimations, but that's it. We just would just put it on Amazon and be like, cool, money.
Yeah.
Where's the money now? Where is it? We had no idea. So in the end, we sold that for a while, and What rev do you reckon
I
we
think
got
we
up
sold
to?
almost 1,000 units out of the 1,500 we ordered.
We,
got close.
I think we got to like 6,000 or 7,000 USD in rev.
we sold-
And then we even like persisted. We were like, all right, the listing's not good enough. Let's rejig the listing. So whilst we sold them, I think we did a second order, and then we redid the listing. And we went.
No, we didn't do a second order, but we did redo the listing. Yeah.
But okay, so in the first order, then halfway
Yeah.
through, we must have just been like,
did.
all right, let's change the listing up, and we like made it like tried to make it funny and stuff like that. But in the end, it just didn't work. And we thought about it later once we finished. We're like, we never even knew like what our click through rate was.
Yeah,
Was
we
the
weren't
Hero
even-
Shop ad?
It was
weren't
all
even-
based on assumptions.
We weren't even
It's all based on assumptions,
we
not
weren't even
data.
tracking PPC. We weren't really we literally made a listing change purely on assumptions, and we didn't even have the full
on
data
feel.
for everything.
We didn't know that if the conversion rate was 1% or 8%. We didn't know.
And then when we made the
didn't
changes,
know
we
anything.
didn't compare the changes either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
so
it
there were
better?
no correlations.
So there was no correlations. And I think like just to like finish off like that one as well, that the data was the main thing. And the other thing we learned, I think, was the massive lesson is like selling products at a cheaper rate. It can flood the
Cheap
market.
price,
A cheaper price can flood the market. I think we sold that product like under 20 USD or like 20 USD.
It started significantly
And
higher though.
Yeah,
and then
but
it
because we
quickly-
took so long to customize it, by the time we got out there,
Yeah.
literally it got flooded. The number of products were there flooded, which means PPC got more expensive.
So-
Prices started dropping. So that was
What it-
another massive
so-
lesson
so-
of selling
so-
cheaper products.
It wasn't that it was initially a cheaper product. It was that we didn't factor in that this is an easy product to copy. So the moat
Maybe a
around
cheaper one to manufacture, like
But
expensive.
I think the point stands that it was cheap. So then when we were running Amazon PPC and we had to,
Yeah.
like our margins, and we had to drop the price down because more competition was coming in, our margins just got eaten up.
Yeah, and even that happens with like majority of our products that we sell on Amazon Australia are like higher priced products. We have a couple of like little side products, the nose and mouth tape. Now they are just like a little side to our brand. It matches our brand really well. They're not marquee products, but yeah, exactly what Eric said. The PPC eats up way more of the profits on those products. We don't make that much money on them. We still make profit, but it's nothing compared to the ice baths and the hydrogen water bottles.
yeah.
What was good about those products was though, it was so small. So like we would air freight them for dirt cheap. The storage fees was dirt cheap because they were tiny. Like the box was like that big with 2 little tablets and a little card and everything.
Still have one
Yeah.
at home and it's great.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
again,
the box was
the
like,
whole
if for people
experience-
listening, it was maybe like 12 centimeters by 12.
It was like a box. Also, you'd open it. It's like you'd get a ring in there or something.
Had
Do
like
you
a-
remember? It's like one of those like.
and the
Yeah, jewelry
insert
box,
card
like
was so
insert,
yeah.
it was so tiny, but so like the detailing, like what I do think that for each product, some products people really care how it looks, what it feels like, and then there are other products, like a toilet brush, like who cares? And the Jaw Define kind of fit into the who cares,
Yeah.
whereas we spent so much time like the camo and the Jaw Define imprint and all of these things, whereas at the end of the day, it didn't really matter.
It didn't have enough what's called gas factor. The customers don't give a shit
We
enough
even got
about it.
professional photos for that one, didn't we?
Professional photos.
Well, we're not going to get into that. That's the story
not
for another day.
But it just goes to show like how much we put so much effort into it. And then that were the lessons. We were too slow because we were trying to make it so perfect, and it didn't even matter. And then we didn't know our back end numbers, so we just made assumptions.
I've got one more lesson from that one, and this is also
I think we got
highlights
the most out of those
yeah
products.
the importance of the fact just launching.
Yeah.
You're not waiting for your perfect product. We've learned so much just from that business.
that one product,
Another
yeah.
lesson from that: Jaw Define. That
Yeah.
is what else can we put under
Brand
that product? Nothing.
specific,
Yeah.
Absolutely
that was it.
nothing. It's a very specific branded product. So like Prodigy X is very broad. We can literally sell anything under it.
You can
right?
sell like a computer chair under Prodigy X.
That's
like
right.
it still fits.
So we sell now we focus on, and this is what we teach inside the academy, is to create a broad brand. So Prodigy X is health, fitness, biohacking, but really if someone said Prodigy X with no context, we could sell anything. Whereas Jaw Define, you're like, okay, well, you're defining the jaw. What else can you sell?
So, just a
under
rule
that?
of thumb: a brand name that describes exactly what the product is not a good idea.
Yeah, that's another. So a lot of lessons from that. But just to summarize, to move on to the next one.
Yeah, that was a banger.
Yeah,
that was a banger.
You need to act quickly, broad brand, and you need back-end systems. So again, you're making data-driven decisions. So data-driven decisions isn't only when you're doing your product research and selecting a product, but it's also
Once you're selling.
decisions in your business. How do you change a hero shot? What do you do with your PPC? When do you have to get more stock? Do you want more stock? All of that is data-driven decisions. Nothing is assumptions or based on what you think.
And these are all spreadsheets and stuff, and it's easy. Like, you know, once you have the spreadsheet, it's very easy. You get the data from Amazon. Amazon gives you the data.
Yeah.
You put it in a spreadsheet. You look at it. You make a decision.
Yeah.
I just want to add one more thing to that as well, because that was your first Amazon. I think, Veronica, I don't know if you had done an Amazon.
Well, I was working for
entry.
Zonguru. That was Chris's entry. So
that was
Chris
your
was still plumbing.
So my point is that you were plumbing, and you put like a lot of like a fair bit of coin into that, and you know it didn't work out. But you weren't like, nah, fuck this Amazon thing doesn't work. This is a scam. This is bullshit. You weren't like that. Like, you literally went and then you did a new brand with Veronica. Then after that you did Prodigy X. So it's like, that's another lesson there too. Like, you know, don't get disheartened with that first failure. Yes, losing money is just part of it sometimes. Exactly, but like, obviously, if you're listening to stuff like this, that's how you shortcut not losing money.
Yeah, you can limit your losses.
Yeah. Next one is that being impatient and skipping a quality control inspection.
Yeah, so just quickly, what is a quality control inspection for everyone listening?
So, quality control inspection, with Amazon's business model, one of the main benefits of it is that we don't see our inventory or our products, right? So we never see our units. They're never in our garage. We never have to handle them. That's one of the pros.
We do always get samples, just to clarify. We make sure
finished
yet. So just want to make sure, we do see them, but we don't hold them. Yeah.
We see one unit, okay? So we see one unit sample, it's ticked, and then when we do our orders, so if we're doing big numbers now, say we're ordering 1,000 of our hydrogen water bottles, who's to say what we're actually getting? If I'm being completely honest with suppliers, like, what are we actually getting? So what we do is we hire a third party, so a different company, to do a quality control inspection. So we create a criteria of the quality and the standard that our product has to meet. These people go into the suppliers in China or the factory or wherever where our product is being manufactured, and they check all our product, or as many as we want them to check, and then we get a very detailed report. This happens on every single order we do.
But not in this one instance.
Not this one.
Why does that happen?
Except. And why do we do it on every single order? So it's not the first order of this supplier, every single order that we do. And why do we do that now? It keeps them on their
toes too. It's actually contractualized now. I have it in the contract. Like, we will, every single time we have a new order, I always have in there, it says a point that they sign. It says, we will send a quality control inspector to check these products to make sure.
And we've had some students be like, supplier says, like, it's because it's a small order to begin with, they'll get their own quality control. Nope, we can do it for you. What do you mean do it for you? You've got to grade your own assignment? Must be external. Always must be external.
A+. It's all perfect.
It's the best quality, I swear.
Always external. And we can drop a link of like the company we use, which has been outstanding. But let's get into how we learned this lesson.
Yeah, so Prodigy X, all of the lessons we learned from those other brands, with Prodigy X, we were fast. We had a broad brand, and don't get me wrong, with Prodigy, I did order samples. So with the Ice Bath, the first model, I ordered several different samples. I even ordered competitors. I was fast, but I still didn't cut corners, because I always say success loves speed, but failure loves compromise. Yeah. So success was fast, but there was no compromise. I did it properly. I made sure everything was great. And when Prodigy X launched the first Ice Bath model on Amazon USA and Australia at the same time, it took off, and it did 100,000 USD in its first 30 days of selling, and it was just parabolic how fast it was growing. And at that rate, I was like, fuck, I need to order more units. I have to place a bigger order. I need to spend more money. I haven't got my money back yet. And I was rushing, scrambling, because I see the money signs and how much money this is generating quickly. I was like, fuck, we just got to place an order. I did. And it was so, like, the growth was so parabolic, I can't even explain it. Like, I'd never seen it like that before. Like, one day was, the first day they just launched, and again, it had no PPC. And this actually, to what I was saying earlier, it had no optimized listing. It had 3 pictures, and they were just on plain white background. Well. This was in US, and this was when the Ice Bath trend just started kicking off. Yep. Huberman started talking about it.
2 years ago.
There were videos of Joe Rogan in the Ice Bath and stuff. And I couldn't believe it, because no one was selling these on Amazon USA. It was just such an untapped gold mine at that time. So I launched them, and day 1 is 2,000 USD. Day 3 is 4,000 USD. By day 5, the brand was literally doing like 15,000 USD a day. Like, numbers I'd never fucking seen before. It was insane. And the brand was growing so quick. So I placed the next order, blah, blah, blah. And they asked me if I wanted a quality control inspection. And I said, for the sake of speed, because we've run out of stock now for a few days, I need to get these out on an aeroplane, get them there straight away. Just go.
And for the sake of speed, that would have saved you 2-3 days max.
Probably something like that, yeah.
So it's like...
And then all of a sudden, the stock comes in, the sales continue. It's 10,000 a day, 10,000 a day, 12,000, 13,000, just like growth like nothing I've seen before. And then bam, one bad review comes in. Oh, it punctured, wasn't good, there was a leak. Oh, okay, it's nothing. Then bam, another 1-star review comes in. Oh, okay, that's a bit concerning. And then day to day, 2 bad reviews, 3 bad reviews, 4 bad reviews, 5 1-star reviews. And every single day, a 1-star review. Leak, puncture, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get the quality control inspection. And it turns out that the supplier actually removed one of the layers inside of the ice bath. So the ice bath had 5 layers. They removed one of the layers to make more money, to cut costs, so they could have higher profits. And that layer actually fucked the integrity of the product up, and it caused leaks. Yeah. And then I was getting all of it. So as fast as it went up, it came down equally as fast. And at that point, I remember I was so stressed, and that's when I was like, guys, I need some help here. Like, I'm pretty fucked right now. I was like the most stressed I've ever been. My eye had a twitch. I had like bags under my eyes because I made all this money, but like I didn't take a cent. I reinvested it all back into the next bit of stock. And by the way, to start Prodigy X, I put in I sold Golden Nature a year before that or whatever. And I put all of that money into Prodigy X, and then I needed more. Yeah. And then that was all that was all in this stock. And then it was all basically faulty.
And that single-handedly knocked that product right off the pecking order of where it was. Unfortunately, over time we tried to bring it back.
We did bring it back,
but not to the level it could be because of the so many bad reviews from that one quality control.
Just quickly to explain, if you're not understanding why it kind of went down the ranks on Amazon, is that we've done a whole podcast on the importance of reviews and that star rating. So starting off with 5 stars, people are buying, but then it goes down to 4 stars and 3 stars. And then obviously at this point, because the opportunity was so epic, more competitors are going in. So now customers have more options. But if they're looking at yours and you've got a 3-star rating and this one has a 5-star rating, why are they going to buy yours?
Yeah, we built a lot of our review strategies that we use now off of that time as well, though. So that was the opportunity there as well.
We got from that as well.
We have really robust, really thorough review strategies, which is fantastic. But the lesson overall is that don't cut corners. Success loves speed, but failure loves compromise. On stage 2, I compromised, and that led to the most stressful time of my life, and my net worth was tied up in a whole bunch of ice baths that were missing a layer.
I think the reason behind it as well is you were thinking, well, every day I don't have inventory in, I'm losing ranking anyway, and I'm losing $15,000-$20,000 a day roughly. But in the long run, it lost more money over time because of that. But you got to look at the bigger picture. Yeah. For anyone, you have to look at the bigger picture of what it could cost you in that time frame going forward. Yeah, that was a massive lesson. One we never compromise on now, and no one should ever compromise.
I just want to say though that because that was early, that was in month 2 or 3 of Prodigy X, and we still managed to overcome that. And then we had we were getting hijacked in USA and all of those issues and all of this stuff. But we still managed, in year 1 to do 1.7 million, then in year 2 last year to 3.2 million.
And we're still top seller of that product in Australia.
In Australia,
and second top seller in Canada.
That product we don't sell in USA anymore though. That's something to note, because it was one of those ones where in USA the reviews and everything was so bad, there's so much competition, and more competition came in and the price came down that we needed to. Yeah. After years, 2 years of selling it, we now have basically taken it out of USA.
But we're still top seller in Australia and second top seller in Canada.
Yeah.
So
Still
we maintained that product even though we had that really rocky, shaky.
And it was actually the biggest opportunity, because again, we came up with our review strategies, and that's at the time where you guys came on board and as co-founders as well, and we started working together because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And we started because again, the broad brand, we were still in ice baths, but then we were looking at different types of ice baths, making it more premium feel, and then that's when we started expanding in terms of the product range in Prodigy X. It wasn't just the ice bath like Jaw Define, the product flopped, next one. It was okay, what can we...
Let's build it out.
Let's pivot, let's grow, let's be flexible, and that's what you need to be in business. And that was, I think it was a testament to everyone, our team.
When I actually think about it now, I'm the fact that we recovered from that and did what we did, and are still doing what we're doing, and we're still going with the brand. We're launching literally 2 new products right now. in 2 different marketplaces, it's a testament to like
100%.
that would have crushed most people, because that was actually maybe, when I think about it now, the most difficult time I've ever had in business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of if you're an OG listener to us, during this time we actually recorded a podcast, and I believe it's on YouTube, so you can go and find it. If you see how Eric looks, you can see the stress on him. Like, we look at photos back then, and we're like, you could be like, oh, that's when that was happening. Like, we know exactly what was happening.
I remember, because you guys were at Jesse's house, you were staying at your friend's place, and I came over, and I was just like fried.
Yeah.
I had the most success and then the most failure I've had in my life in this period of 2 months. So you can imagine what my emotional and dopamine regulation was like. It's like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's hectic. Well, that's our 5 main. We've got
one more
lessons.
We've got one more, and this has probably been our longest podcast.
How long is this?
This is going to stay up our way.
I think we just keep on going.
Just keep rolling with
because
all the way.
I think
this is so important. This is probably the most important podcast we can give to people too.
Yeah.
In terms of
we've
value.
covered more than 5 already.
Oh yeah, it's
like
more than. But I think
going.
even just as we realize, we're like, oh wow. Yeah. But that's you would learn so much more just from launching. It doesn't matter even like what the result is, but then you learn so much more, and then you go again, and it's so much better, and you go again, and
you
it's
can
so
see
much better.
these brands and all the results, and then how that led to Prodigy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I just remember I just had a flashback of when you did go through that peak of like peak happiness to peak like, oh my God, what's going on? It was like, I remember being at home at the house, and you'd go to the toilet first thing in the morning.
I was literally thinking that as well.
And I just hear this, guys, I've done another like $12,000 or something. First thing in the morning, every morning.
Yeah,
and then it went
on the shitter.
It flipped to being like, I've had 2 more bad reviews come through. Like, it just flipped all within. Like,
I remember that every morning I'd wake up with like so much energy, like, and I'd check it. I'd go take my morning, go to the toilet. And I'd go on the phone, and it was near your guys' room, and I'd just yell out to you guys, "Hey guys, guess what the sales are?" You guys are like, "What are the sales?" I'm like, 7,000.
And then it flipped.
First thing in the morning, every single day.
It's been like, I don't want to check sales now, because like it was when like you're like, oh, what's going on?
It's always all these stories always correlate with us being in Adelaide. Like, when we're all being like, it was always during Christmas time, where we're all staying at our mum's house, or like we're back for a wedding in Adelaide or something like that. We're all in that close proximity. There's a lot of growth happen there. All right, I guess I'm not going to say the last one we're going to talk about, because who knows what might spring up. But this lesson that we learned is the importance of timing when you decide to sell your Amazon business.
Oh yeah, that's a big one as well.
So I will start off with, if you didn't know, yes, Amazon, when you have an Amazon FBA business, you are creating a real tangible asset that you can sell. You can sell
your own products.
We Prodigy X is ours. All the products that have Prodigy X, we own that inventory. Even the listing and all of that, we can sell that to someone else, and then it's their store, which is one of the massive pros with an Amazon business.
It's like the entrepreneurial pinnacle is like doing like an exit. You know, you hear people do like, oh, I did an exit. That's like, you know, they sold their business to someone else. That person pays them a lot of money, they take the business, and they continue growing the business.
It's no different to a physical business on the street. If it's a store, it's a store. We have a store. We just use Amazon as the vehicle.
It's just online, yeah.
All right, so the lesson there, the importance of timing when you decide, and I guess, Eric, tell us the story.
With this one, so Golden Nature, I sold that brand in 2022. In like September 2022, and I'd run that brand since 2018. It was like almost 4 years, right? And the real lesson, because I won't get into the details of this one, was that you need to sell a brand when it's on an upward trajectory, so when it's growing, not when it's declining. The lesson there was that I actually sold it too late. I didn't sell it when it was on a nice steep incline. I sold it when it was on a decline, and I still managed to sell that brand for close to $100,000 back then. But it was like, you know, I could have sold it at its peak for closer to $500,000. And that's just the overall lesson, is that you want to sell a brand. And by the way, most Amazon brands are only worth good money after 2 years of running. And I'd run that brand for 2 years. And in around 2 years, I joined like a mentorship program called Titan. And I started doing all the back end numbers and stuff that we were just talking about that we didn't do for other brands. And I actually knew all my numbers, and I was strategically growing it. I was doing everything solo. And It got to 50,000 USD a month. That was the peak of that brand. Actually, it got to 49.8 thousand. It's fucking annoying because I never actually broke that 50. I can't believe how annoying that shit was. Like, I actually
ran out
never,
of stock.
I
That's
ran out
what
of stock. I
happened.
never physically broke the 50K with Golden Nature. Got that 49.8 or some bullshit like that. But anyway, 50K. And I should have sold it at that time, right? When it was peaking, and then more competition. You know, it's kind of that story, and I was doing other stuff, and I started doing...
Your love for it dropped off a little bit, you weren't...
exactly. I had no passion for the brand. Like, I didn't give a fuck about selling bamboo fruit baskets and all of this stuff. And, you know, I started trying drop shipping, and I was trading NFTs, and I was doing crypto. Like, I was just doing other stuff because I guess, like, generally speaking, we're not just Amazon sellers, we're entrepreneurs. Like, we do other stuff. You guys have like 2 properties. I always like learning other ways of making money and doing stuff. And I should have put the business up for sale when it was doing 50K a month, not when it was doing 20K a month and declining. But thankfully, thank God that I managed to actually sell that business and had a nice takeaway. And that was the money that I put into then Prodigy X 6 months later to then lead into the story we were just talking about.
So the main lesson was like, sell when the business is growing and is looking like the most... I guess people are going to pay more money for the business when it's looking sexy and it looks like it's growing and it looks like it's on an upward trajectory. They're going to offer you less money for a business that is struggling and needs more work, because people want to just come in, plug in, and then put more money and feed the beast. They don't want to have to come fix things and potentially make a loss.
Yeah, they want it to just be easy as, we take it, all right, cool, we're just going to continue making money.
Yeah. And we've spoke about selling Prodigy X, and there is, we've had discussions with other people, and there is people out there that want to buy companies that are like slightly on the decline because they see it as opportunity to get them back up again.
Yeah.
But you still have to sell the business and show the business off in a way that there's potential still. It can't be like you just stop doing it and it starts running off, or your trend is just hit a wall. Like, you need to be like changing your system so that it still looks sexy to buy. Yeah.
I actually, it's pretty cool because, I sold Golden Nature in 2020. It was 22 or 23?
No, it was prior to the ice baths, because
it was prior because that's how
No, it'd be 22 because we
22?
left.
It was 22. It was
in
September
23.
22.
A full year, because then you were doing...
No. It was after we left Meriton. Anyway, it was... Wait, what year?
No.
It was last year was 24, which was the second year of Prodigy 20. It was 22, right? It was September of 22. And now to this day, Golden Nature is still so the guys that bought it, and this is interesting to note as well, they were called Mendoza Merchants. They were a company that had heaps of Amazon brands, and they had they have like a massive system. Basically, they buy these, for them it was a small brand, and they just plug it in. They launch more products. They do supply negotiations, get better prices. They change the images, and that brand to this day is still on Amazon USA, and it's still pumping. They've actually launched more products. They have like 4 more products. They still have the spoons. They brought back those bread boxes I was talking about. They brought them back, and they have the fruit basket, and then they brought in like a banana hanger thing, and like some other products as well. So that's cool that they literally managed to take the brand and continue growing it, which 100%. Is what people want.
And we see those fruit. Eric was number 1. I just want to say
number one.
We were literally at a cafe yesterday or the night before having dinner, and there's like a big version. It wasn't that brand because everyone copied Eric. It was like a massive one, and I took a photo. I was just like, even in Bali.
I always tell people, I'm like, look, I don't like mean to make this a big deal or anything, but I was actually the first person to ever sell bamboo fruit baskets in Amazon USA. Just letting you know, you're talking to the guy that sold the first ever bamboo fruit basket in Amazon USA. Just so you know. There's like 700 now, like literally 700.
There's so many different designs now.
There's like brown ones and black ones, but it's like the same product, but like all these different variations. Ones have like 4 tiers, like everyone, and that's
trying to make variations.
That could have been if I was still doing that brand or whatever. That could have been the way that I got. That's exactly what the guys that bought the brand did. They have like 4 tiers now, and the black ones and all these different variations too, which is the correct thing to do.
And you briefly mentioned it, but it kind of leads to the fact that you didn't grow like that because you weren't passionate about the brand.
That's
you
right.
weren't passionate about fruit baskets. You weren't passionate about Prodigy X. So when you're not passionate about what you're selling, yes, you still made a lot of money off that. Yes, you sold the brand, but you didn't want to grow it to the level it could have got to because you're like, I'm a bit bored with this. I want to do other things.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
Prodigy X is a completely different story. Love the brand, love where it's going. You love
We
doing
used the
Instagram.
products. The branding was
you
so
love dealing
fun.
with influencers and all this sort of stuff. Like, so it's like you want to grow that brand because you're obsessed with it, or you like really like where it can go because it's something that's like part of you. So that's why we really push the whole passion to profit formula, because it's just so important to actually drive you to grow it to its full potential.
Yeah, and it's also easier to market. Like Eric did a very good job figuring out what someone is looking in a bread basket, but he's never bought one in his life.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know? So it's like we talk about, like, if the product that you're selling, if you're the customer yourself, then it's far easier to market. You know what improvements, what your customer is looking for, and it's way more fun as well.
Way more fun, yeah. But the main lesson there is, like, once you get to the level that you're selling a business, you want to sell it when it's on an upward trajectory, not when there's problems and you no longer want to do it and stuff. Like, that's the lesson. You want to build it so year 1 good growth, year 2 good growth, and then sell.
Can I add one more in there that I know that it's not on your list?
Well, I'm waiting for the little bowl to go blue or whatever. So I think we just keep
let's
going.
keep rolling.
I've got one more that recently came up.
Is this an hour pod?
And yeah,
This is an
it looks
hour
like it.
Yeah,
So
it's a juicy one.
I've got one that's been like coming up every now and then, and some of our students who dealt with this, and I know they've fixed this, and I've dealt with this quite a few times in the last year. And that's when like Amazon flags a product for something that it's not meant to be flagged for. So recently we had a product that we had flagged, and it was said it was a hazmat product or something like that, or it was a hazardous product. And I just want to say, like, a lesson that I've learned from Amazon in recent years is that there's always way to fix this. There's ways around this, and you shouldn't give up on something that happens like that. So if for some reason Amazon flags your product, so our product, there was nothing wrong with it, but they said, you need a certificate for this also, and unless you provide that certificate, they won't let you sell that product. So a lesson I've learned is maybe it's a keyword you've put in there, or maybe it's a photo that you've had in there, and you just have to like start again, and you can get around that. When we first did this years ago, well, for example, a new product we're launching coming out now, I'm not going to say what it is because we haven't launched it, but a year ago we got flagged and we thought, we can't do that. And it's taken us 6 months, 7 months before we've retried again, and now it's up and going, and we're about to sell 2 of these products. So it's a lesson that I've learned that, like, yes, Amazon sometimes is annoying because it flags you, but there is ways around it. And with the help of even AI now, you can be like, hey, this is my whole listing, my bullet points, my photos, what in this listing is causing Amazon to give me a flag and stop me from selling this, and then you can work around it and relaunch it, even with the new barcode or something like that. There's ways around, and I wanted to say that because I know some of our students have had issues, we've had issues, and it's something that I just don't want people to give up on. There is ways around it.
Yeah, it's true. It's like no doesn't mean no in the game of Amazon. It's like, sometimes you have a query you want to send to seller support, you need help with something, and they just say, can't do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean shit.
No.
Like, there's been times where we've had to call seller support every single day for days, and then eventually you just get to one person, and it's like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And they just do it,
You're
and it's
literally-
fixed. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
So
you're
it's like-
waiting for that person who can do it. So I had someone in my DM to like, they're not part of our academy, they're just new to Amazon. They're like, they said that I can't sell this. I'm like, you just call them until you find someone that will fix the problem. Like, there's no other option for that. And people are like, but they said no. I'm like, you called them once.
Yeah. We would sometimes call them 2 or 3 times a day, every day. And also a benefit of selling on Amazon Australia is that you don't get in USA, is that you get the account manager.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that we were actually able to launch this product, was because we got this account manager, which is a real human that works for Amazon, and they're dedicated to helping you with your brand on Amazon Australia.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for a second. And you have their personal WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So you can message them, hey, Naeem, I have this problem. Can you help me? And they're like, yes, because I'm in the back end and I actually can do stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not just a generic, hey, sorry, we can't help you, like voice recording.
They have access to more things, and there was just one aspect that they mentioned that said, hey, you can do that. And I've now been able to use that one aspect for other listings in Australia and even in Canada, just because I knew what was getting flagged.
That's like such a major benefit of selling on Amazon Australia, is getting the free account manager, where in USA you can get them, but it costs 3,000 USD a month plus a percentage of your revenue, and you don't get their personal number. You just have to, you only get their email, because we actually paid for that in USA for a period of time, and it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth what we wanted.
We get it for free in Australia, and we have a personal number. She's way more helpful.
Yeah.
So
all for new sellers.
Yeah, for new sellers.
They're still running that as well. I know for existing sellers, it's not you can't have them anymore. But for new sellers, if you're a brand new seller, you're going to get access to an account manager.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I'm going to wrap this bad boy up.
That's
that
a
was
banger.
a great one.
That was a long one.
I think that was a long one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think actually what really comes out of this is that in anything you're going to do, there'll be hurdles, there'll be challenges, and you just have to keep on going until it works for you. Like actually being consistent and being persistent is a thing that will make you successful.
Yeah,
That's
and
literally it.
I'll close off with a quote that I was thinking about yesterday.
Go on.
And that is, a winner is just a loser that never gave up.
Nice.
Bang.
Nice.
That's Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Peace.
Peace.